Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Yeah, we got a lot to get into on today's episode of Sports Talk Daily as the Chicago Bears are back at camp after coming back from Canton. And I mean, listen, there's some really interesting takeaways from today's day at camp. Velus Jones has a new position during this next block until they play the Buffalo Bills. Will this be something that continues? Also, got to take a look at Caleb's play today. Caleb Williams threw the football pretty well. It was kind of we'll talk about the practice. It was not an overwhelmingly like, oh my God, practice. But Caleb Williams threw the football well, and I thought handled some really good situations. Flus giving us a little bit of an update on the right guard situation right now. And DJ Moore's contract has been structured in a way that it absolutely benefits the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that like button. It does help us on the YouTube side. And make sure that you hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time we go live. Breeze Nation, what's good, baby? As you can see, I'm still up north. The traffic was getting crazy. I couldn't run to the studio, so I was like, bet, I'll just do it at mom's house. We at mom's crib. You always know when the green wall is here. Your boy's at mom's crib. But listen, still wanted to get this content out. Wanted to get it out early because I think there's a lot of good things that you can take away from today's practice that really change maybe a little bit of the perception that is around this Chicago Bears team right now, especially with what they're heading into the season with. Let's start off with the big thing, right? Let's start off with the biggest thing that we got from today's practice, and that is Velus Jones possibly switching positions. We know that the Bears are a team that are big on having guys that are versatile, and so could we see Velus Jones switch positions? Well, we saw that a little bit today with the running back position. Velus Jones, a part of that running back room, being a part of with the second team, dare I say, looking fairly good with that second team. And maybe it's something that you see the Chicago Bears try and test out moving forward. This just makes sense. This is one of those things where, okay, what is the problem with, and I'm almost glad that the Bears finally got here. I'm glad that the Bears finally got to a point where they said, well, you know what? We just got to get the football in his hands, because that was the problem. And I kept hearing people say this, that, you know, he's a dynamic player once you get the football in his hands. It's like, well, that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest issue that this team has with Velus Jones, is actually getting the football into Velus's hands. We finally see the Bears put him in there at running back, get him some reps in there, saw him working with the team and individuals as well, doing some really nice things. And we really haven't seen them commit this much to him. Matt Eberflus talked about it up at the podium as well and said this was something they were going to be testing out during this block, which is basically from now until the Buffalo Bills game. Don't know if this is going to be something long-term, but what I think it is, and Flus said as much in his press conference as well, that it's something where you have maybe some of those players on the bubble. And he did say on the bubble, you want to find them every opportunity that they can have to make this team. Now, of course, we knew Velus Jones was going to be on the kickoff. There was never a doubt there. But hearing that, you know, he was on the bubble a little bit. We didn't know kind of the direction we wanted to go with Velus and how we can utilize him, but we do know he's a weapon that we want to have on our team. I think that this is the perfect way to do that. Now, do I think that there's some things that Velus is going to have to change before he finally gets to the point where he's dominant in that running back position? Of course, I do think that that's going to be something that there's going to be some certain changes that have to happen in his game. But at the end of the day, getting the ball in his hand has been the issue. But him being dynamic with the ball in his hand has not been an issue for Velus Jones. And so any opportunity that you can go out there and allow him to be dynamic with this team, I think it puts you in a good position. I think it puts you in a good spot. And I'm glad to see the Chicago Bears finally kind of get on with that line of thinking. Now, the real question is, okay, you've made this switch to running back. What is he going to be able to actually do at that position in an already packed running back room? Right? This is still just trying to find spots for him to be that gadget guy. I don't think that Velus Jones this season all of a sudden becomes the Cordero Patterson of this team. I don't think that Velus Jones all of a sudden goes out there and we're talking about him being the the focal point of a running game for the Chicago Bears team. I don't think that time is coming anytime soon. What I do think is maybe you put him out there as wide receiver on some plays, you get him some run at the running back position on some gadget plays and different things like that. Find easy ways to put the football in his hand, because you got a lot of wide receivers on this team who are looking to end up making the team, who are looking to end up being major pieces that the Bears have moving forward. And I think that that's the part where, when you look at kind of where this team is at and what you're trying to build with this team, right? Like, you're having that conversation of, okay, I've got multiple guys who can catch the football. I've got a wide receiver room that I'm actually somewhat intrigued in looking at this team right now. I've got a wide receiver room that I think has some really good depth in it. So where does Velus fit into that? Heck, I've got some guys in that wide receiver room like Tyler Scott that I don't even know where he fits into that room just yet, right? So, like, I think that there is a little bit of that game that you have to play where you kind of got to move some guys around and figure some things out. You see Colin Johnson making not only his name as a wide receiver, but also making some really good plays on special teams. Does he find his way onto this team, right? Like, I think that there is a lot there that the Bears can utilize. I think that there is a lot there Bears can take away by moving Velus Jones into a different position, and honestly being able to get an evaluation of him as far as being one of those guys who can be all over the field. Now, let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Velus Jones playing that wide receiver position or playing the running back position that it seems like the Bears are trying to move him into? This is interesting to me. Again, hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page. Leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. Shout out to the Breeze Nation in the building, man. Michael Anthony in the chat. Justo in the chat. Matty Legend in here with a year. Jay Grizz in here with a year. Shout out to y'all boys, man. Gucci Finesse in this thing, man. Pat, you using somebody's mobile Wi-Fi. Is the Wi-Fi looking a little grainy? I'm using mom's Wi-Fi. So, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do in this mug. But no, man, I mean, I'm excited to see kind of what this Bears team is going to get to. I'm excited to see where this Bears team is moving offensively. And I'm glad to see that they're not just stuck in their ways with some of the things that they want to do, with some of the ways that they want to utilize these players. Let's go out there and use any opportunity we have to go out there and use one of these young guys. Let's utilize that opportunity, man. Let's keep this thing moving along. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, the Velus Jones part of this is interesting, but Caleb Williams also played pretty well today. And I think that's the part that most Bears fans more so care about right now. Caleb Williams was out there. I thought that he did a solid job today navigating practice. I thought his footwork looked really solid. I thought that he did some really good things navigating the pocket. Here's the thing at the end of the day. And I would say almost everybody, and by the way, a quick thing here, just nothing crazy, but over 100 in the chat. I think that almost every one of the media members who was sitting there watching today, everybody who was up in the media stands, everyone who was up on the media side, we all left today feeling the same way. A practice happened today. I'm not sitting here telling you that today was an overwhelmingly phenomenal practice by the Chicago Bears. In fact, I think that if we're going to be honest about today's practice, and it's the only way that I know how to come on here and talk to you guys, today's practice to me felt meaningless. Today's practice to me didn't feel like there were massive accomplishments by either side, but there were good things to take away from today's practice. And I think that more so on the press conference side as well, there were some good things, some good nuggets that we were able to glean from it. But I did not lose my mind one way or another when watching today's practice. I did not feel like the Chicago Bears, not to say that it was a bad practice. I wasn't I've said this a few times about this. I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. I was whelmed. I was very whelmed by practice today. But with all that being said, I thought that Caleb Williams did an excellent job navigating the pocket. I thought that Caleb Williams was still able to come out there and in team periods have some really good moments moving the football up the field. I thought that in the red zone situational periods, or more so in the red zone period, that he finally started to navigate that red zone much more comfortably. It's the most comfortable I've seen him in the red zone. I mean, he was able to find nice, first off, some nice play calls by Shane Waldron. I like the little pitch play that he has. He's got one where it's almost an end around, and it seems like it's obvious that this is going to be an end around, and then it's a quick pitch to Cole Kmet up the middle. I think that that'll be something that we've seen used by other teams. We've seen Travis Kelce use that with the Chiefs. We've seen the Rams use that as well. We've seen Seattle use that with Gerald Everett, who's also here. So there's some good pieces out there that you can kind of utilize and take away from. But I mean, like this was not. First off, there were no pads. There was no, like there wasn't anything crazy. Like I said, that I thought that happened. I thought that Caleb is continuing to improve, but I just thought that practice was a little bit mad today. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like it was something. And the reason that I feel this way, I would say this: if this was last week's practice, I would probably be ecstatic about it. If this was last week's practice, I would probably be ecstatic about it. The thing is, this is supposed to be the ramp up period. We have heard that this is the time where, okay, we're getting ready for the season. We're going as hard as we can right now. And it didn't feel like that today. I thought that offensively, the offense moved the ball solid today. I thought defensively, we still saw some good things. I talked with Tom Thayer about this as well. Defensively, when you look at a guy like Javon Dexter, tap in with the Chicago Bears podcast today as I talk with Tom Thayer and interview him on today's episode. But when you look at Javon Dexter out there, whether he's in pads, whether he's not in pads, he finds a way to make an impact. And I think that that's one of the greatest things that you could take away from his game. And the impact when he's not in pads is he's always batting a ball away. He's always finding a way to tip a ball in the air. And I think that those are things that are going to benefit the Chicago Bears long term, especially when you start to get into this season, especially when you look at, okay, what is this Bears team going to be able to do defensively up front? A lot of the questions that we had on the defense, I think that Javon Dexter is going to answer quite a few of those questions. And so I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to do early on in the preseason game, and of course early on in the regular season. I think that right now where this Bears team is at, though, I wanted to see a little bit more from both sides. I want to see a little bit more aggressiveness, but there's pieces you can take from it, like I said. And those are my two biggest takeaways offensively from today. And again, you saw Velus with the twos, and it looked solid. You know what I mean? It looked like he knew what he was doing out there as far as the running back position. Austin Booker continues to impress me. The one thing about today that I guess is a little bit of a concern, a lot of guys banged up. A lot of guys banged up out there. I mean, let me see. Let me look at my list here of guys that I had who were on the bike and or just not practicing, especially in the secondary. My bad, I got a lot of notes here. Okay, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, Noah Sewell, Ian Wheeler, Andrew Billings, Roshan Johnson was on the bike as well, and Tyreek Stevenson. So the secondary was missing quite a few pieces today. So maybe that adds to the reason why Caleb Williams was able to navigate things so well. But we've talked about the depth of this team, and I know, right, everybody feels a little bit worse about it, especially with the DBs, with what we saw in practice what we saw in the Hall of Fame game last week. But I mean, listen, I think there is something to be said to Caleb still being able to go out there versus this defense and be able to do some really good things. But you also have to take that into account when you look at a guy going up against guys like Jaquan Brisker not being out there. You know what Jaquan means on the backside of this defense, like Tyreek Stevenson, who's basically your number two out there, right? Like there's a lot of names, especially in the secondary, not out there. So it does make sense why Caleb was able to move the football the way that he was. But still a good day, and a day where you can learn from it, a day where you can start to figure some things out. And I hope that that's what the Bears are able to take away from this. Now, as we get back to tomorrow, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with this team, because pads are going to be on for the next couple of days. So, okay, what does this team look like in pads? What does this team look like when they're going out there? And I guess in their estimation of the words, ramping things up. You know what I mean? I don't know if the ramp up is a legit ramp up. I'm a little concerned about that. And it's been one of my concerns with Flus the entire time. Where are you at? Are you going to push this team to the limit that they need to be at? And I talked with Flus about that, today as well, especially with the quarterback position, especially with some of the continuity issues that he had out there. And he didn't really give you he didn't really give me a legitimate answer, right? He kind of did a little word salad play on me. And that's, yeah, I mean, I understand it. But basically, my question to him was, how do you make sure that Caleb Williams is getting everything that he needs development wise when you see the influx of guys in and out of there? And his response to that was basically, you're trying to find the right guys, but we're not going to rush this process. We're going to take our time and make sure that we have the right 5 guys out there. I just wonder at what point do you get to do you finally say, either you've got the right 5 guys or those 5 guys are not on this team. I really do. I really do. I really wonder at what point do you go out there and say maybe we need to find a different set of 5 guys, but you don't have a choice right now. These are the 5 that you're rolling with, and I think the continuity is the most important thing that we can see out of this team. I think that the continuity is going to be something valuable that at a certain point. Tom Thayer gave a number today on the Bears podcast. He said you want to see 1,000 snaps from now until training camp. Or until the game 1 with 5 guys already in there. And I was just like, I don't know if you're going to get that. I don't know how you get that. I have no idea if you're going to get anywhere near 1,000 snaps for anybody out there right now. And that's a tough situation to be in right now if you're a Bears fan, because it feels, like I said, more of the same. So hopefully we'll be able to see some consistency at that offensive line. The one thing that I will say that I thought was very interesting from Matt Eberflus today was his openness to a little bit of a competition at right guard. So we got to talk about that as well. Hey, hit that like button, subscribe to the page if you haven't done so. Leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us Monday through Friday. We're live Monday through Friday, so stay tapped in with us. First night of Hard Knocks tonight as well. Going to try and jump in because I'm not going to be home right as Hard Knocks drop. So I'm probably going to end up having to watch it after. I'm going to try and jump in on this ESPN Chicago Hard Knocks Hard Knocks Live that they're going to be doing after Hard Knocks is over. I'm also going to try to jump in on a live here as well after I'm done with that and react to Hard Knocks. So stay tapped in with us over there. But no, man, I'm the fact that we finally kind of got, and I think we're continuing to get this. It's starting to seem like Flus is a little bit fed up with the Nate Davis situation. And today we got a little bit more of a tidbit than we've been able to get out of Flus for, probably the duration of this entire process where, he ended up getting asked. I don't remember what the question asked was, but he ended up getting asked about, the continuity and when do you have to make a decision at right guard, because that's a spot where a guy hasn't been out there. And the one thing that I took away from Flus's response was, hold on, let me look at the notes here. He said, people say you can't lose your job because of injury. I don't believe in that. And that's in bold on my notes, because that to me is an absolute message to Nate Davis. Not saying that they're going to cut him, not saying that they're going to move on from him, not saying that he's not going to be a part of the team, not saying that he's not going to be out there, but that is an absolute message to me from Matt Eberflus to Nate Davis, basically saying, listen, my guy, I think that you're good when you're out there, but you got to be out there. And we need to start getting some continuity with this young quarterback that we have. And I love it. I love it. Make that decision, make that call. And I'm not saying he has to be benched, but put the pressure on a guy to say, if you're not out there, this may not be your job. You're willing to do that with every other player on this team, minus probably Caleb Williams, every other player on this team. And we've been so unwilling to do it with Nate Davis. It just doesn't make sense. I love the fact that we heard this from Matt Eberflus today, and he was speaking in terms of a guy like Ryan Bates going out there who, as I've said the entire time, is not a center. He is a guard. So is he able to step in? Is he able to go out there and play consistently? He's been somebody who's been consistently healthy. And I think at a certain point, you're getting to a point now where you got to find your starting five. I'll say this: if we don't see Nate Davis, who was at practice, he went through walkthroughs, he was a part of the starting offensive line, but he was not out there when it got into team and situational periods and stuff like that during the red zone drills, different things like that. He wasn't out there in those moments. If you're not out there in pads tomorrow, I would say, listen, don't be surprised if maybe we see the tide turn on Nate Davis just being penciled in as the starting right guard right now, which to me makes the most sense in the world. It just does. How can you pencil somebody in as that elite guy, as that guy who's always going to be the answer, as that guy who the Bears have to put out there if he's not out there? Especially with a young quarterback, especially as much as they've talked about the cadence, especially as much as they've talked about, having Caleb Williams. Like, you haven't even had consistency with the bodies out there. How are you going to have consistency with the cadence? And Flus talked about that when I asked him about it as well. You know what I mean? But like, those are the things to me that stand out the most. If the Bears are going to be a successful football team, if the Bears are going to start off this season with real success, with wins, I'm telling you right now, at a certain point, you got to make the call on Nate Davis. At a certain point, you got to make the call and say, if he's out there, fine. He's out there. Let's do it. But if he's not out there, you got to make the decision to say, hey, this ain't it. We got to put a guy out there who's it, and you're not it right now. And I'm just glad to finally hear Flus have that conversation. I'm glad to finally hear Flus be open to that conversation. I'm glad that the Bears are finally open to the possibility that, hey, we might have missed on Nate Davis. Yes, he's solid when he's out there. Is he going to be out there? Those are the questions that Bears fans have been asking. Those are the questions that we as the media asking. Finally starting to get some answers. We'll see, man. But the fact that Flus is finally open to it, I'm all in on that. I am excited by that, and I hope that this Bears team continues to move in that direction where they learn from their mistakes. It's been my issue with this. That's been the Nate Davis thing the entire time. Just go learn from your mistakes. Just go figure out where you messed up in the past and adjust that for your future. That's what we haven't seen consistent from this Bears team. And that's what I need to see consistently from this Bears team. So we'll see what ends up happening here, man. Keep an eye on Nate Davis. Like I said, keep an eye on him to see if he is going to be that starting right guard by the time this Bears team gets to the regular season. We'll see where the team is at by then. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. Let's finish it off on this. Somebody said, Pat, the quality is buns. Hey, listen, I can't, I'm fighting with mom's internet right now. It is what it is. I can't, I'm working through the best that I have in the spot that I'm at right now. Let's finish it out here. Appreciate you guys tuning in, showing love. Looks like you're recording this on a 2002 flip phone. Very interesting update that we were able to get from, and let me see, it might actually just be Restream. Sometimes Restream will do that. It don't even be the internet. Restream will just tweak out like that on me. And sometimes I can come in here and fix that real quick. Yeah, it might just be Restream. Hold on, I might be able to fix this real quick. Here's one thing, though, as we try to get this back on track, that I found very interesting. And I'm back. About the Chicago Bears and how they structured DJ Moore's contract. Because we got an update finally on how the contract is structured, what the Bears have going on, how they want to, or how they're moving forward with him money-wise. His new contract details coming out. The cap space right now in 2024. They basically converted his entire contract or his entire contract for this year to a bonus, a signing bonus. So now DJ Moore this season will make $7.2 million. Next season will make $24.9 million. 2026 will make through 28 will make $28.5 million. There's a potential out in his contract in 2026. And then in 29, I will be 5 contract. I'm sure then we'll have Bears now with the cap space that we thought that they were going to have currently sit at $21.5 million in cap space. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. That is GMing at its finest. I mean, like, seeing what the Bears still need, and now knowing that you have $21 million in cap, especially when camp cuts come through, we know that that's what we're waiting for next, especially when you see this team be able to, there's still some names out there that maybe they want to sign for a little bit of a discount. Maybe if you want to go out there and get a Unique Ngakoue now, you can. Maybe if you want to go out there, and I know the Connor Williams situation looks kind of bleak, but now that you have a little bit of extra money, maybe you can offer something different to a guy like Unique Ngakoue. I mean, like, this is a great situation for the Chicago Bears to be in here. This is a great situation for the Chicago Bears to be in here. You've now got the money that you can go out and try and add pieces to either put in front of Caleb Williams and be able to actually get him some solid protection. That's something that quarterbacks in previous years haven't been able to have. Or you're able to go out there and you're able to add some pieces on the defensive side, because now, and by the way, which is the best part of this, which is the most exciting part of this to me, you don't have to spend all 21 right now. You don't have to go out there and spend all 21 right now. If you were able to go out there and spend 10 to 12 of it, still have some money left over heading into the season, then you're able to trade possibly that second pick to add even more to what the Chicago Bears have. Like, the fact that you were able to get this contract done is A+ GMing by Ryan Poles, and it's a phenomenal job to continue to set this Bears team up for the future. How many times have I talked about that? How many times have I talked about what he's able to do there? How many times have I said the thing that I love about Ryan Poles is it feels like his back is never against the wall. It feels like his back is never against the wall. When we had questions on the wide receiver position, boom, all of a sudden Keenan Allen's here. Not only that, we got Roma Dunze in the building. Oh, I guess we got that figured out. All right, don't worry about that. When we got questions on I didn't have questions on the running back room, but some people had questions on the running back room. You had questions on the running back room, right? Boom, we were able to go out and get DeAndre Swift. Well, how are we going to replace Eddie Jackson? Boom, we got Kevin Byard in the building. Like, there's so many things to me that Ryan Poles has done to not only get elite pieces in here, but also to create cap space while getting those elite pieces in here. I think that he has done an immaculate job at being able to go out there and add talent while still keeping the Bears in a good space cap wise. And the funniest part about it is, like, remember what we come from. Remember the Ryan Pace years. Right? Ryan Pace, I mean, it was a struggle bus. It was a struggle bus. You're sitting there in the Ryan Pace years just going, all right, we got Khalil Mack, but we got no picks and no money. So, like, we got to win right now. Oh, we didn't win. Okay. So we got no picks, we got no money, and we didn't win. Well, we got to win next year. Oh, we didn't win again. All right. Well, that's tough. Like, to me, I think that there's a really confident feeling you should have as a Bears fan right now, knowing that Ryan Poles is GMing your team. And that doesn't mean you can't have questions. That doesn't mean that you can't feel like there's some things that haven't been addressed. That doesn't mean that you can't sit there and say, yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more on the offensive line. It just means I have questions right now. Because when I had wide receiver questions, he answered them immediately. I think literally the day I put a video out like, hey, what are we going to do at wide receiver? We literally got Keenan Allen. You should, as a Bears fan, feel the most confident you have ever felt in a GM, not only because of how he's doing it, not only because of how he's going about it, but because of how he set the Bears up financially for the future, because of how consistently he is able to go out there and find solid pieces that you can bring in while still being able to maneuver some of the money around to add other pieces in as well. And he's building it like a modern GM. He's building it like a modern NFL team. Those are the things that I get excited about. Those are the reasons that I look at Ryan Poles and I go, you know what? I can have some questions, but this guy's got some answers for me. I've got some questions, but Ryan Poles has some answers for me. And so as a Bears fan, I'm excited about where we're at right now. I'm excited about where the team is at. I'm excited about where they're at with the development and in the process with Caleb. I would be a lot more excited if we had the offensive line a little more locked up. But I mean, like now I'm woefully excited because you've got $21 million to play with, and it seems like a GM that can't help but find good talent. Those are the things that, to me as a Bears fan, we haven't seen in our lifetime. Probably since, I didn't get a chance to see the 80s Bears, right? So I didn't get a chance to see that team be built. I wouldn't have understood it probably at that point either, right? But I didn't get a chance to see that Bears team. And since then, I really haven't seen a GM be able to find elite pieces and build on both sides of the field. Right? We can talk about the Jerry Angelo teams, but that Jerry Angelo team's offense was not good. You can talk about the Phil Emery team's offense, but the Phil Emery team's offense wouldn't let go of the Jerry Angelo defense. Can't talk about anything with Ryan Pace. Like, I look at the job that Ryan Poles has done, and I commend him every single time I come on here, which is why I say in Poles we trust. If you agree with me, hit the like button on the video, man. Over 100 in this mug, 36 likes on the video only. That's crazy, dog. Want to get some of y'all comments in here as well. Lonnie Coleman says, I'm honestly surprised Velus is still on the team. I don't know if I'm surprised. I'm not going to say that. I am surprised Velus is still on the team, but I'm not surprised Velus is on the team at this point because he survived so much. You know what I mean? Like he survived the rookie year. He survived year two, and they just want to find this guy. They want to find a way to utilize this guy as a weapon. That's really what it comes down to. They want to find a way to utilize this guy as a weapon. What else we got up on here? Damian said Poles needs to extend Yannick. I don't know what he has done, what he is doing, not signing him yet. Listen, I mean, you want to go with the guy on the cheap. You want to find a cheap option out there, and Yannick can be that cheap option. To me, do I think that you could have gotten this done already? Sure. Do I think that you are a little bit am I worried by the fact that you haven't gotten this done yet? Not really. Because I think that you're also in a position, again, a position where you have options. Everyone's so worried about Yannick. Oh, so worried about the opposite edge. You got to get the opposite edge. What are you going to do if we don't have the opposite edge? Oh, my God. It is all based on how good is Dominique Robinson, or not Dominique Robinson, definitely not Dominique Robinson. How good is Javon Dexter? How good is Javon Dexter? Because if Javon Dexter is good, you're in a position for you to be able to go out there and have some really, really good production out of both sides of your edges because there's just going to be quarterbacks running into their lap. If you're able to push that pressure, if you're able to force that pocket back, that forces guys into the arms of guys like DeMarcus Walker, like Montez Sweat. Oh, by the way, for most of this season, or at least early on, you're not going up against the best of the best in quarterbacks. So you're going to have quarterbacks that are going to be a little bit more panicked. It allows Javon to kind of figure himself out. I'm more worried about it from that situation. I'm more worried about it from that situation. I'm more excited. Maybe because I get to see Javon every day, I've kind of gotten less worried about the opposite edge position. And that's just me. Maybe it's just me. But I'm not nearly as worried as I once was about going out and signing that guy opposite Montez Sweat because I see how dominant Javon Dexter has been, and I know what that does to a defense if you have that guy being dominant up front. You never saw Jim Finks. Jim Finks was here before. Yeah, I never saw Jim Finks. I'm trying to think. I had to think about that. I was like, oh yeah, Jim Finks was here for a while ago. When was Jim Finks with the Bears? Ugh. What do we got? Jim Finks was with the Bears 74-82, well before I was born. Yeah. Did not see Jim Finks. But I mean, yeah, Jim figured it out. Jim figured it out. What else we got on this mug? What did you say, Grady? Grady said Pat live stream got COVID extra grainy today. They shooting it with TI 83 plus. Nah, man, just fighting through that struggle Wi-Fi every now and then, man. Every now and then you got to shoot it from up here. I appreciate you guys sitting here and rocking with me through the Wi-Fi issues that seem to continue to show their head up here. Let's try this one more time. I'm gonna try this one more time to clear this mug up, and then if it don't clear up, it is what it is. Boop. How about that? We'll see. That's the last time I'm doing it. Let's keep this thing going. Drop your comments in, drop your questions in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Somebody said, who was it? I'm trying to find this. Whammy said, Pat hates Caleb. What have I said that told you that? This is my favorite assessment of all of this. Pat hates Caleb Williams. What have I ever said anything that makes you think that I hate Caleb Williams? When have I ever said anything that makes you that has even been a besmirch of Caleb Williams? The entire time we were going through, now what people heard what they wanted to hear, but the entire time we were going through the Justin Fields, Caleb Williams Civil War, I literally said, this kid can play. I can see why Ryan Poles would want him. I just feel like X, Y, and Z is a reason why I would keep the current quarterback. But it is always funny to me when people just come, oh, you hate Caleb Williams. I probably come on here and sing Caleb's praises more than anybody. Do I call out his faults? Yeah, but I did that with Justin as well. I did that with Mitch. Like, it's always funny when I get this response. Like, Pat hates Caleb Williams. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a Bears fan. At the end of the day, I want to see Caleb Williams dominate over anything. Everybody's right when you're holding up the Lombardi trophy. You know what I mean? Everybody's right when you're holding up the Lombardi trophy. So, like, it's always funny. And I know everybody's sitting there looking like, what did he said, Pat, you trolling a troll. Like, yeah, I get it. He's a troll. That's why he's in here. And that's why, you know, they drop comments like that. But I do get that a lot, that people think that I just dislike Caleb Williams. And I don't know where it comes from. Because I literally come on here every day after practice and I'm like, listen, Caleb, balling out there, footwork. I've said that Caleb is better at processing than Justin Fields is. But again, people hear what they want to hear. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. VP Pat's favorite quarterback, Pat's favorite Bears QB was Orton. Whew, he in there, unfortunately. Which I think says more about where the Bears are right now at quarterback position. My favorite's probably Jay, though. I loved Jay. I just thought that Jay wasn't really the best leader. You know what I mean? I just thought that Jay really wasn't the best leader. But I thought that if you put a left tackle next to him, Jay Cutler could absolutely go out there and dominate. But yeah, man, great day, great stuff from the Bears. I think that they've done a really good job. And I say great day because to me, your biggest takeaways from today being the Velus Jones part of it, being the DJ Moore contract update part of it. Those are the things that make this a great day. Would I say practice is great? No, I thought it was a very go through the motions kind of practice. But when you see a Bears team who is able to get things done like they've been getting done today, I'm excited about that. And hopefully we see some subsequent moves come from this where the Bears are actually able to go out there and sign some guys that are going to make a long-term impact on this team. That's my hope. See the Bears have some guys make long-term impacts on the team. But again, I do want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Again, my apologies for the connection issues and for some reason the internet problems here. But as always, like I said, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love, and let's hope we see some better practice tomorrow.